Hello, thanks for joining me. We're doing another session this evening. I'm going to do a little bit of muscle testing, share some information all about becoming an independent individual in order to step into your personal power. So, what do I mean by that? In order to step into your independent personal identity, your individuality, then we need to become authentically, deeply authentically who we are. That requires us to accept who we are as we are, and from there, do our personal development. But we first have to accept who we are. We have to know that we are an individual. And why would you want to do all this? Because this is where the personal power comes from. And I would just love for everyone to have more confidence, more self-esteem, more belief in themselves, more courage. So it's all those wonderful things that we can get out of becoming what I call in my book the IIPP, the independent individual, in order to access your personal power. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name's Maureen Callister. I'm a kinesiologist. I've been working with kinesiology and muscle testing for almost 30 years, and I just love it. To get that access through my client's body into their conscious and their unconscious mind and look at what's holding them back and what their challenges are to becoming the best version of themselves that they can be. So this is my book. It's called The Gift of Self-Worth. And I've written this book because I believe it's our relationship with ourselves that causes most of our stress and anxiety, and therefore has a really strong influence into our health and well-being. Anyway, it's all explained in the book, and I'm not going into that tonight. But what I do want to talk about is using the current astrology. I'm not an astrologist, but I do love working with astrology and looking at the times that there are currently in the world and on this planet. So at the moment, there's a really interesting astrological event that's going on, and it's to do with the alignment of the North Node and the South Node. So the nodes, sometimes called the nodes of fate, the nodes are not planets or signs. They are mathematical calculations based, I think, on the relationship of the moon to something, to the sun. And let me just explain this. So they're directly opposite each other on your astrological wheel. And the South Node depicts what you are familiar with and comfortable with. It's what you come into this life knowing innately, what you're kind of good at, what your natural gifts are. So when you look at your astrological chart, and I highly recommend this for pretty well anyone, is you will see where your natural innate strengths and weaknesses are. That is directly opposite your North Node. So your North Node is considered your soul's journey through this lifetime. It's where you want to direct your arrow so that you have a concept where you're going, and also the planets and the signs that are around the placement of your North Node will give you some indication of the things that you want to work on, the strengths that you want to develop, and also whatever house. There's 12 houses on your astrological wheel. So the house that your North Node sits in will also give you some insights into the area of life that that this lifetime is directing you to express the qualities that you wish to express of your soul in this life. So they're very important, right? So at the moment, the Leo is sitting in the South Node, and it is directing us to move towards the expression of Aquarius as the North Node. Now, it's interesting for me because my south node and north node are the polar opposites to that. So my south node is in Aquarius and my north node is in Leo. So I have a very strong stellium of 6 planets, all sitting in Aquarius in the ninth house, which is so Aquarius is the element of air. And I often think of myself as being a bit of an airhead. I'm a big thinker. My brain is always going. I love complex problems and I love digging deep. And that is all part of the indication of my south node, what I have come into this life with. And my north node is in the third house, which is in Leo. So it's looking at bringing that out into the world and sharing that through writing and teaching and things like that, which is what I do and what I love. And it just comes naturally to me. But the north node means you have to develop the courage and the skills to move into where your north node is guiding you. Okay, don't want to get too technical, but if you'd like to get your chart done and I can have a look at, I'm just going to adjust this down, where your north node is and where your south node is, and we'll give you some guidance for that. So currently we've got the south node, so that is where the collective consciousness, so all of humanity, the earth, is we're moving from the attributes of Leo, and depending on where that falls in your chart. So you have to look at your Leo influence. So you want to look at the planets that are where Leo is sitting with the planets and what house they're in. And that is what we're moving away from, and we're moving towards the elements and the qualities of Aquarius. So because I'm a very strong Aquarian, I am reasonably I'm familiar with those qualities. So what does all this mean? I've written a couple of notes to try and keep me on track. And I also wanted to bring this into what I started off talking about, the IIPP. So again, in my book, I've talked a lot about the art of separating. So one of the big attributes of Aquarius is that it's very strong on individuality, independence, and freedom. It's about being truly authentic with who you are and being your own person, being responsible for yourself and standing on your own 2 feet. So that's a big topic that I talk about a lot in my book. And in fact, anyone who's had a look at the book, you'll be very familiar with what I call the model of compassion. I just want to get a little picture of it here for you, if I can find it easily. So what I talk about is this little model. So we got to get to know the flow of energy that allows us to grow up from the inner child, and for us as adults to become independent individuals. So what I'm talking about there is, and I cover it a lot in the third section in the book, where I talk about the art of separating. It's not about physically separating yourself, even mentally or emotionally separating, but energetically coming internal. And again, it's another whole section in the book because I'm obsessed with this. It's the internal connection with you and who you are, so that it's all about the self. Self-love, self-acceptance, self-esteem, and self-worth. And when we are internally orientated, when we are looking after ourselves, taking care of ourselves, being the best version of ourselves that we can be for the good of the collective. And that bit is really important. So a very strong Aquarian trait, as well as being that independent freedom, it's also about what is the best thing for the collective, what is important for the good of all of humanity. And that's why we have to do the internal work, so that we are not needing, and again, there's a section in the book that explains needing, wanting, and choosing. So we want to satisfy our own needs as adults. As a parent, it is your responsibility to cater for the needs of your child. But when the child becomes an adult, it becomes important for each individual, each adult, to provide for themselves. And when we then meet our own needs, we can move into wanting and wishing and desiring and motivating ourselves and getting inspired and manifesting what we want to choose in the world. So there's a really big, important process that we need to go through here. We need to clear any lack or needing someone else in our past so that we can become independent, stand on our own 2 feet, and be responsible for ourselves, to love ourselves by accepting who we are, so that then we can move into the potential of who we want to become in the future. And that is the big theme that we've got here with this nodes of fate, and these last for 18 months. So over the next 18 months, you will be guided and encouraged to step into your IIPP, your individual, your independent individual, your unique expression of who you are as a unique individual, so that then you can become personally empowered. Because one of the traits, apparently, of Leo, one of the shadow sides, one of the I don't want to say negative, but one of the lower expressions of Leo, who are very heart-loving, very, Leos are also always known as the lion's mane. So they've always usually beautifully presented. They love to walk into a room and just make everybody happy, and they're full of smiles and they can entertain, and they just deserve to be on the stage. But one of the shadow sides is that they are looking for external validation, and they tend to be a little bit ego-based in the fact that they try very hard to present an attractive image of themselves so that they are validated and accepted by those around them. That is external orientation, when we're looking outside of ourselves for validation. They tend to take on the burden of leadership. They think there's a feeling within Leos that they have to be responsible for the group and take on the burdens of the group to move them forward. And again, that's a little bit ego-based. That goes to the mind and the identity that they see themselves carrying. But the Aquarian is more about how can I be the best version I can be for the good of humanity, authentically and in reality. Okay. So we have to let go of pleasing other people. We have to let go of taking the burden of being responsible for other people and of competing for validation in the world. That's that's a classic social media type thing. Do I have enough likes? Do I have enough comments? And I'm on social media. That's how I get my message across. But anyone who are influencers, it's all that kind of thing. How can I present myself in a way that's acceptable to other people so that they approve of me and I can feel better? Whereas hopefully the Aquarian expression would be more around how can I authentically share the things that I have learned in order to make your life easier. And I don't care whether you like me or not. But then with the algorithms, if you don't like and share, so please like and share and do a little comment, so that, because that's how the algorithms work, then we need that to get the message out, but not to stroke our ego. So I hope that comes across with what I'm trying to do here. So what else do I need to tell you? That's kind of the main thing. Oh, I did want to read just a little section of the book. that I thought might be useful for you. This is about the internal versus external orientation, because I like to muscle test what's going to be most useful to you. And this came up in this little bit in the book. Society has traditionally encouraged an external orientation, particularly discouraging individuals to prioritize themselves, labeling this as selfish. This mindset has been especially imposed on women, emphasizing the importance of putting the family and others first. So, as women, we are very guilty of that. However, this only weakens us. By shifting our focus inward and prioritizing our own needs and well being, we become stronger, more self aware, and better equipped to lead fulfilled lives. And I believe it's really important for mothers and carers to model that self prioritization in order to make sure that my needs are met so that I am giving to you as a parent from a full cup as much as as we can do, because we want to be the best example for our kids. I always said our kids will do what we do, they won't do what we say. So we must model good behavior, and part of that is self-care. So that was that little bit. I also did find a card. Where did I put it? Right here. So this was interesting how this came up. Sometimes I just never know, but I'm going to take what I get. The card that came up is the little chakra oracle cards. And this card is called Pure Bliss. So how I'm interpreting this is, if we can get this right, if we can meet our own needs and have self-acceptance and self-love and do self-care, then we will experience pure bliss, right? So it says pure bliss is effervescent and intoxicating. Your positive energy is being manifested and is contagious. Take the time to relish in your ability to feel blissful. Allow yourself to experience a range of amazing feelings and know that you deserve to feel good things. If you find it difficult to hold on to a state of pure bliss, take some time to practice holding on to positive feelings. Visualize yourself enjoying positive sensations, using all of your senses to bring the state of bliss into your body and mind. Smell the aroma, see the brilliant colors, hear the sounds, and feel all the sensations. So to me, that's a little bit like they say that you can't smile and feel angry or upset at the same time. So try that. If you think of a negative thought or something upsets you, and then put a big smile on your face, your natural physiology that's associated with smiling is completely different to feeling angry or depressed or annoyed. So, but this takes it a bit further. So think of something that's positive and that uplifts you, and then feel into it, feel the positive feelings, and you will feel your vibration and your frequency lift and elevate, and you'll start feeling better. And then you go, I'm doing what's good for me. And if it's good for me, then I can open my heart and be the best that I can be. I can share joy and love and acceptance and compassion to my fellow man and woman and children and neighbors and friends and people in the supermarket. And I can share that bliss with those around me. And then we all make the world a better place. And that's the goal of all this. There's a little mantra. It says, I embrace all good things and I deserve to feel blissful. So have a little think about that. Step into your independent individual. Maybe I've just come to me, write down a list of the things that you feel and you judge yourself as being unacceptable. You know, some people might go on, I've disappointed some of my family, or I've let a friend down, or they've let me down. You're judging someone else, and we feel angry and resentful towards someone else. So those things, I'm not saying they're unacceptable, but we can lift and elevate those by loving ourselves more. So again, I'm going to go back to the list of What is it that you feel you cannot accept about yourself, or that you judge yourself or criticize yourself for? Make a list of them and one by one shift them, elevate them, bring good feelings into them, and change your habit around the way you perceive yourself and give yourself what you need. So feel the bliss, feel the joy, feel the lovely upliftment of the gorgeous Aquarius energy. Tonight's actually the Aquarian full moon shining down on us with all of its gifts for humanity. So with that, I'll leave you there. If I can help you with any of that, if you'd like your chart done, an interpretation of that, please let me know, or pop in and let me help you with lifting and elevating your judgments and your criticisms so that you can accept yourself, be aware of your gifts, and love who you are. All right. God bless. Take care. See you soon.